Welcome everybody to the 3D Car Audio channel. Today's tutorial will be how to use the free version of SketchUp that's available on the internet. The best way to learn SketchUp, I guess, will be is to just start with a basic little model that we're going to do, and that's to draw a box to submit to Boom or Bust. I think that would be a good little project to show you how to use SketchUp. So head on to SketchUp, click onto the Try SketchUp on the top right-hand corner. You will have to become a member and log in before you can go any further. Once you get to this part here, click onto this left-hand icon and you'll see that there's the paid version where you get a 30-day free trial, or the free version. The difference between one and the other is that the paid version is a desktop version, so you can download it onto the desktop without needing internet. And this is a web browser. Both the same. Obviously, the pro version has a lot more intricate tools to make things a lot easier, but more for the person that knows how to use it. Let's start with this first, and then we can always move into the pro version on later on in the tutorials. Today's model is going to be a subwoofer enclosure. So let's start into making a model. Click onto the icon. Now don't worry about that. That's because I had a model going before. You'll be greeted to the home screen. Now you want to begin with setting the parameters before you go any further. And what you want to do is click here on the top left-hand corner. You'll see here where it says millimeters, inches. Choose the one that's appropriate for you. I'm in Australia. I'll be using millimeters today. Once you click into it, you'll get put straight into the environment. Good time to save your work now. So click on to save and name your project, box, save. And I'll talk about the tools as I design this enclosure and how you're going to be using it. So first things first, I have X, Y, and Z in my space, and you can see the horizon. That's one of the things that's great about SketchUp, is that you get a good scale of things if you're designing a house or anything like that in architecture. So having a person there gives you that sense of scale. So what I'll do is I'll show you roughly what these tools here are. So these here on the left are basically a select tool, which you will use to select things, a rub tool, which you will use to rub things away, a circle tool to draw circles, a line, a rectangle, a 2-point arc tool. So if I click 1 point and then 2 points, I can create an arc. This is the move tool. So if I then select this and then press the move, I can then moving. So you would have to press select first. And once you select the object, then you can press move. Okay. This button here is called push and pull. The purpose of this is if I have, let's say, a face, I can come to this button here and use it to push and pull things. Quite simple. This is the offset button, and this allows you to offset things from the side. And this is a follow me tool, which we're not going to use today, but it's a tool that I will show later on during the tutorials. Basically what it does, it allows you to draw a line however you want, in whatever shape and form you want. And then if you put an object, let's say like a square next to it, there I'm working in different space here. So I'll put that here. No good. So I'm just going to show you what it is. I'll remove all that. And I'll just put a face there. Then I'll draw a line. Then if I go to the rectangle, There you go. There's my box now. And let's say I want to then follow this profile around this line. If I use now the follow me tool and I click, and when you click into it, you got to click onto the face and at the same time pick up the line. So let me do that. Sorry, again, I haven't chosen it. The follow me tool, and I'll pick that line. So what you're going to now do is once you've designed that line, is remove this section so that it's got no face on the bottom. And what you want to make sure too, that this here is all one. And touching the line. This is just showing an example of what follow me does. So you can do any type of profile for this particular tool. So if you're designing a port and you wanted to do a curve, you can then use the arc tool to create these curves that you want. And then what you could do is use the rubber tool to delete that. So, and if this was the port, let's say, and I was doing something like that, and then let's say I'm using the offset tool to offset things, and then I'll use the follow me tool to come along and follow that line. See how I've put my mouse on that line? And then what I'll do is I'll follow that line. Okay, that's the follow me tool. Oh, there's the box with the port, and that's all open inside. Because what I did is I created a profile. All right, that's the follow me tool. You have the rotation tool. So if I wanted to rotate this object around, what I would do is I would choose the object, then I'd use the rotate tool, and I can rotate it like this way on the X and Y. And if I wanted to go into the Z, I can come to something on a face where I can even draw up a little cube just to get a face of X, Y, and Z. And then what I can do is then select that and come to that face after with the rotation tool, and then I can rotate it like that. That's how I do it. Okay, so that's the rotation. That's the scale tool. So the scale tool is if you choose something, and then if I press the scale tool and I grab these corners, I can scale things up and down. As well as that, if you go into an object like this, that's been extruded, and I press the scale tool, it gives you center ones, it gives you corner ones, where you can do that. Okay. The other one is the pan tool. Sorry, we missed this one, which is the paint tool. That's just to add colors. So you can choose a color and add colors to help you with just communicating what you're drawing. The colors then can be tied into layers later. Pan tool. So this just allows you to pan from one end to the other. The measuring tool. So I can measure what things are. And the orbit tool. Now the orbit tool is, you can find it on your mouse in the middle. So if I click, if I just zoom with my scroll button, the same button if you click is the orbit tool. So two functions from that one button. And then this is called sample material. So if I click onto that, and then let's say I wanted to copy this color that's right here and I don't know where it is, then what it'll do is it'll prepare that color ready for me to paint this one. Okay. So if, let's say I've got another color here and another color here and another one here, and you've got this shot and you don't want to sort of sit there looking for them, the quickest way is just to use this thing here, bring it here, copy it. Okay. And then if I click onto this, it gives me all these other little tools. And the idea here is it's tools that you're going to use, not necessarily for this particular job that we might be doing, but for other jobs. So what you'll do is your toolbar will let you set whatever tools you use the most. For the ones that you don't, for an example, this one here, I could pull it out. I can't. What happened? There you go. I can't pull that bottom one out. But you can pull these ones here out, and then you can replace them with the ones that you want in here. Okay. So on the right-hand corner, you can see there's an area where it says entry info, and that's one that you're going to see a lot. So basically, if I wanted to know a little bit about this face or this face, entry info generally will tell me what it is. The area is 36.36 square meters. This line, it will tell me the length of the line. If I was doing a circle, for an example like this, it tells me the radius of that circle and how many segments are around it. So if I wanted to make that circle a lot more of a circle than less than of a hexagon, I can come along and change this to 90 and do the same for that one. And now you can see it looks more as a circle. If I wanted to do fillets, so I wanted to curve these corners, well, on this software you can't. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw in as a profile. So what you'll do is you'll come along and you'll press the 2-point arc. I think I pulled it out before. I think I did too. All right. Anyway, this is the one you need. I'll pull the one I don't need and go to 2-point. Bring that back in. So I'll print 2-point and I'll do a circle or a half oval. Now, when I do a half oval, I'll use the white paint so you can see it. If I come along and I want to do a circle in here, see it's blue. Once it turns pink, that's the full circle. If I go over, it's no longer full circle. It's either going past the line or under the line. So I want to go full circle. And then what you can do is you can create your curves, your fillets through doing it this way. Then I'll use the push and pull tool and I'll pull it away, creating that face. So that's a start. Let's start with the box, roughly. How are we going to do it? Clear everything away, select everything. And let's put a face by clicking on rectangle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to design an enclosure. So first thing we're going to do is draw in 2D. So we don't have to worry about using 100 buttons. We're going to just be using now the pen, the rubber, and a few little arc tools and extrude tools and offset tools. They're the main probably palettes that you're going to have. Now, I saw my scale where I am. I get an idea of roughly how long this line is. So let's say I want to do a box for that 3D printer boom and bust. So it has to fit within 200 by 200 by 115 height. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. If it's not, confirm and make sure you design it within that if you plan to submit it to boom or bust. So I'll go 200 and then I'll go in the other plane. Now you see as I move my mouse around, it's clicking into the axis. Okay. 200. And then I'll use my rectangle tool just to create that square. And that just gives me a scale of the print bed. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll press the select tool and select that object, right click. Okay. And you see a few little commands in here. We want to make a group, turn that into a group so that it doesn't become a different component to the same component as this. So I can move it as one and without affecting it. So here's my print bed. We want to design an enclosure. Now I've gone through roughly what all these tools roughly do. So let's use a few of them now. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with a box. So I'm not going to measure from here because I'm going by the scale of roughly what the print bed is. And then I can sit there refining the measurement. This is going to be a fresh design. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But let's say I want to do basically a ported T-line / in between of everything. So I've got a square. And what I want to do is I want to start drawing the radiuses now, the fillets now, because remember, we're drawing in 2D. The computer doesn't have a fillet tool. This software doesn't have a fillet tool, sorry. So you have to create it yourself. So in this case, you can go like this. And see when I click onto this, only when it turns pink will it delete the other lines. See, I didn't delete it now? Right, so it's not a perfect circle. And now I'll delete it. Now, if it doesn't delete, you can just go along and use the rubber and delete it. Okay, so I'll go back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this design from here to here. Okay. And then I'm going to use a Fibonacci sequence, I guess. Very similar. Maybe like this as an arc. And then I'll come along here. And I'll put another circle, half circle here. Now we want to keep within the same print bed. So I can rub this one here off now. And I'll have it coming like this so that the woofer is mounted in the middle. I'll have to close this off. Now you can see that the line's a lot darker here. And here is a lot lighter. And that's because this is a face. So if I click onto this, so what I'll do is I'll get rid of this bottom now. We don't need it. So we don't have any issues of faces. So if I click onto that, that's a face now. But this is not a face yet. So it won't print as a face. What we're going to do is we're going to close it. And you remember I was saying to you about the segments before? What we can do is we can click onto these circles and we can change the segments to 50 or 60, whatever we want. So they're much more curver. And then I'll just continue that line. Now what I'll do is you see how it's pink? It means that it's found the right orientation to follow that line. Okay. So that's the port. The woofer will come out through here and exit this way. Now, how do I draw this? How do I make this into where do I go from here? What you want to do now is use the offset button and start offsetting the enclosure. 4 mil, if you're going to use that sort of thicknesses. And then what you can do for the offset for this one is click onto it and do 4 mil as well. And you can do the same with that one there as well, 4 mil. Okay, so they're not meeting up. That's fine. I think I probably didn't press 4 mil. Probably press 4 mil. 4 mil. Yeah, that's better. All right. Now what I'll do is I'll continue that line through and then I'll close this one. Now watch what happens. It closes. Now it's become a face, a proper face. And we'll rub this bit here off. And then what I'll do is I'll come along and I'll rub this bit here off. Now I'm working in 2D. So if I now use the push and pull tool, you can start to see what's going on now, yeah? Now, if I was to do that, and let's say I'm happy with the design, I can go to that next phase now. But from here, let's say I wanted to add these fillets, I can come along and curve these a lot nicer now. Okay. Now, yeah, just a rough an idea. You can spend the time in doing this right. I'm just working in freeform at the moment. I'll use the rubber tool now to rub some of these away. And if I wanted the box to do that same thing again, I could use that offset button as well and do 4 mil and do the same on this one, 4 mil. And then I can delete these ones if I wanted to. Just watch what you're deleting. So we'll just have to close that line up again. And just we delete this one here. Okay. If we wanted to add maybe a circle here and one maybe here, then what I can do is I can rub this one off, that one off, that one, and that. So that becomes one component. And I can rub this here off. And that becomes one component. Okay. So now I'm finished with the design, let's say, and this is what I want to submit, something like this. I've done all the research and this is the perfect box, let's say. Now you can draw in squares and do a box in squares and use that same process where you can, I'll just do another one. So I'll do a box here. What I'll do is I'll just copy it and paste it because that's the print bed. So if I was to do a square box, I'd use a square, a rectangle, and then I would use the offset tool to create the thicknesses. I keep on pressing the wrong button. 4. Now I'm generally using the Pro version, so I'm not familiar with everything either. All right. And let's say I wanted to do a T-line type of port. I can then click onto that line, right click, and see where it says divide. You see it's got 3 red dots. If I start to pull on the left, it gives me all these different dots so that I can use as reference. And then on the bottom right hand corner tells you how many segments there is. So we'll go, in this case, looking at the scale of the thickness of the wall, we want the ports to be about, say, yay high, that yay thick. If I come along now, I can click into this and make these lines. And let's say that's where I wanted to be. You saw how I made the Fibonacci box. I'm going to use the same method now here. So if I put my mouse here, it's 13 mil, 13 mil perfectly. I'll use the offset button and I'll come in 2 mil on one side, 2 on the other. So that way I've got a thickness of 4 mil all around. I'll take these lines through. Make sure you're in the right orientation. It's got to be green for the Y. Okay, so like that. And then you will do the same here. Close this off. So I draw a line and then I press escape and then go to the next one. Escape, next one, escape, next one. We don't need that one. Use the rubber. And what we do is we rub off these middle ones so that we be left with just the ports itself, the panels. So I'll get rid of that one too. And I'm working like I would normally in a real world scenario, pen and paper, measuring tape, ruler. I'm working in 2D. I haven't 3D nothing yet. So I'll go back to that pen and I'm going to measure to see if that's still 11 because that looks 9. So what we want to do is we want to move that to 9. Just find where it is, draw a line, a reference, and then press the select tool. Now, when you select it, you want to select 3 of these boxes. So what we'll do is we have to press Control. You'll see a little plus sign come up where it allows you to select a few more. Then what you do is press the Move button, come to the corner for reference, and move it to that corner where you've just put that line. So now we know that it's all even. All right. I work systematically like this so I don't confuse the lining and the meshing. Keep it clean is the best way. Then I'll come along here. We've said that we know that it's 9 mil. We're going to come along 9 mil this way. And we're going to do the same on this one, 9 mil. And then what I'll do is I'll rub out the path. So we don't need this, we don't need that, and we don't need that. And then I'll continue drawing now the opening of the port. And then I'll rub this off here, and that's the port. So here's my second box. Now, let's say I wanted to get and rub this off, so that way reason why I'm doing this is when I go to use the push and pull, it all pushes all as one. Now, if I wanted to be a bit more, creative on these corners and create a little horn, let's say this last corner, I can. And then what I'll do is I'll select this tool, I'll select this line, and I'm just going to copy it like yay. Okay. And I'll rub off this. And I'll let that last leg of that open expand. This is just a design, just to show you how to use it. Now I'll come along and I'll fillet those by using the 2-point. Okay. So I'll look for that pink. Okay, then what we might want to do is do the same with this as well. And we can adjust those, don't worry. I'll show you how it's done. Just all put them in first. And then what we do is we delete, rub out this middle bit. Now we can see that it needs to come down. So what we can do is press the select tool, and then we can use the move tool to move this down where we want. So in this case, we want to be, let's say about there. And then we press again the select tool, select the corner, then the move tool, and we can bring that down. I can draw a reference line if I want. Let's create, go back, let's do that again. Okay, and there's the port. That's it, that box is done too. I'll put a curve in here. And I'll leave the front in a square. Okay, so now from here, I've got two boxes. What I'll do is I'll grab both of them for the sake of the tutorial, and I'll do a copy and paste by doing Control C, Control Z, and just put a copy here so that I've got a reference for them. Let's work on the Fibonacci first, and then we jump onto the other one. So with the Fibonacci, if I wanted to make another copy so that I can now make the lids for these. So this we can extrude from here. And what I want to do is when I extrude, now let's get rid of the print beds now. We don't need these anymore because we know the size of the model. Now, when I extrude, we want to make sure we do it correctly. If I just extrude, or sorry, if I just push and pull, okay, and I do that, if I look underneath, it has closed it. A lot of times what will happen, you see how it hasn't closed it here? And that's because what you've done is you've pulled only the face. What you want to do is create a new face to pull up. Is by pressing, again, the Control, and the plus button will come up, and then you can bring the face up, and you can do the same, bringing that side up as well. If you look underneath now, they're closed. And then what I'll do is I'll remove this so that it's just total hollow, one object. And that's for that one, what you will do. And then if I wanted to then make a lid that's going to fit on top, and then obviously we want to make the bottom, so it's part of this one, is I'll just do another copy and paste, select the tool, select the object, Control C, Control V, and what we'll do is we're going to rub out these areas here. Sorry, just go back. And we're going to use the push and pull. Again, we have to press Control to create a new face to pull. And let's say we do that 4 mil as well. And that's the bottom. Then what we'll do is we'll select it. We'll find a reference point, which is right this corner. And we can reference that. Either we can orbit it to bring it down here. Where are we? Where have I pressed? All right, let's find another reference point. Okay, so if you look at carefully, I'm going to make sure that that lines up. And that's lined up with the bottom now. So now what I can do is I can make sure that this object is 1. If you look, there's a line in the middle. And if I was to put my mouse, if I was to look inside that, there's still a face in there. They need to be deleted for 3D STL modeling. And what we'll do is I'll show you later. If your model's got a lot of this left over, don't have to panic. I'll show you how to fix all that after. But to make it easier for you, just rub them off now, right, from the outside. The whole idea is keeping it as one hollow block, monolithic in some way. All right, rub these ones off so that if I now go back inside, they are rubbed out. And you see how there's these faces here left that don't really need to be here. Now, this software that I'll show you later how to get rid of all that anyway. Right, but if you want to inspect it yourself, you can. I'm just going to have a look with this one. That looks good. And that looks good too. All right, so this box is ready. And all we're going to do is make a lid for it and put a hole for the woofer. So we'll use the circle tool for the woofer. Oh, before I do that, I'll show you. If let's say I want to put a lid so that it actually seals up well, not just a plain lid. What I can do is I can extrude the inside of this where it slides into it, but I just got to allow a little bit of thickness so that it has room to fit in. So I'll come in by 0.5. And then what I'll do is I'll extrude that face, but I have to extrude it, all of it first, so that it's all got its thicknesses of 4 mil. So I'll press again the Control 4 and do the same. Make sure you get the plus button up. Okay, and that's 4 mil. We want to rub out all the ones at the bottom because we want this to be one face. Okay. And then what we can do is pull just that bit here off by maybe 2 mil so that it has a little pocket, and then we can push this so it's flush. Right, and that's the lid for it. Now, if I look inside, you see that it's got a few lines like this, which we can delete or just leave them, and the software that I'll take you into will fix it all up anyway. There's these lines there, you see them? Who cares? So what we'll do is we'll select it, turn this into a group, make group, select this one, again, turn that into a group. And now if I was to flip this around and fit it, won't fit because it's not exactly how it is, huh? So what we have to do is we have to mirror this. So first things first is use the scale tool, go in the middle of it, not the top, because then you'll change the form. If you go on the top, you actually become different directions. So we want to mirror. I'll come from this way. And you see it clicks into place. That's where you want to be. And then we want to rotate it so that it fits in there. For printing, this is the direction you're going to want it at so that it prints on its face. But for the sake of fitting it, you'll press the select tool, the rotation tool. So find in plane. And if you don't find anything that you can work off, just draw a little cube. Okay, so there's the lid. I'll grab a point and I'll put it in now. And that's the box done for the Fibonacci. All right, plenty of room around it, slides in nicely. And I want to put the woofer in. So this is going to be just a ported enclosure. So this is one component now. Here's the other component. We want to now only edit this component without touching this. So what we can do is press onto that component now, that group, right click, and we want to edit that group. Or we can explode it if you want. And then we can edit it, we can make it into a group later. So let's just explode it if you want. And then what you can do is use the circle tool, come along and put your woofer hole. You can press the select tool and you can move it to wherever you want. Keep in mind you can change the segments like I had mentioned before. I'm going to go to 90, right? And then what I can do is I can use the offset button if I wanted to create a little embossing of 5 mil. And now when I go to push and pull this, I'm going to pull it down to the face below it. And say it clicks onto it, and when I release, it deletes it. Okay, if there's a line behind it, then it won't delete. You have to do it manually. Now I bring this down for 2 mil. So I've got my embossing, and that one is now finished. The same process will happen with this one, where I'll copy this, paste, so that I have a lid, and I have a top, the bottom. I'll use this as the extrusion, so I rub these off. And I'm going to use, again, control, get the positive up. Okay, and we're going to go, let's say, the same height as this. Okay, now if I look underneath, that's closed, which is good. And then I'm going to rub off the rest of these. Make a mistake, just Control Z, go back. Sometimes I can work and go in 10 minutes into the model and just realize I've gone in the wrong direction. Control Z, go back where you were, and just start again. Here's my lid, the bottom, sorry. I'm going to use the push and pull, the plus control, and I'm going to do 4 mil. There's the bottom. I'm going to then press the select tool, and then I'm going to attach it, grab the corner, and attach it to the bottom of the corner. So that's now one component. Okay. So what we want to do is rub off that bottom, like I mentioned before, so we can just keep it clean. Okay. And then we want to do the same process as we did with the Fibonacci box, is we want to bring in an offset of 0.5. And then we want to raise. So the other probably smarter way to do it is just bring this up now at 4 mil. 4 mil. So I didn't close it. I didn't press the control plus 4 mil. 4 mil. That close. Rub off the bottom. And what quite simple in terms of the process what I'm doing here, because I've sort of been still working in 2D really. And now I'm going to the 3D part. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this, I have to do that little offset that we said of 0.5. And then we can bring this out to extrude. Just press the button, 2 mil, and bring this out flush. Okay, right click, make that into a group, select it, right click, make that into a group. Let's flip this box around and see if it fits, and we'll put the woofer box in as well, All right, rotate. I didn't think I Got that right. So I'll do that again. You'll see when you rotate, it clicks into the spot. Press the move tool, just move it out of the way and grab a corner. You see I haven't yet mirrored it. Then I'll press the mirror tool, which is the scale tool. And I'll go in the middle and I'll scale it where it clicks in the middle. And then grab the box in the corner and play that in here. And that's it. And again, the same process like I did on the other one. I can now either explode it or I can now edit the group without exploding. The difference is now you see this is all free and that isn't. So to make this now into one piece, into a separate piece, I have to actually just select that part there and then group it to make that back into a group. In this case, I'm going to work for this purpose of this part of the tutorial is to show you how to use it in edit mode. Edit group. And now whatever I do here, I won't change it. I only change whatever within that group part only. So I'll go for the circle. I'm going to put my woofer in here. I'll use the move tool, select tool, sorry, and then the move tool just to bring it as close as I can to the corner. Now I'll make sure that my segments are set as well. So I'll click onto the circle, change that to 90. And then I'll use the offset tool. And then I'll grab this circle and then offset it by so I'm out of the block now. So you got to make sure you're out of the currently I'm out of the group. So I'm going to click back into it, edit the group again, and do that offset of 5 mil. And then push and pull till it hits the bottom. And then do 1 mil here. And that's this box done. So there's your two boxes. You can put the woofer where you want, the face, however you want. In this case, now it's going to print this or that. So it's going to either put structure. So you got to think about all this, how you're going to do it. Now what I will do is get it ready for printing. I've got my two boxes here. From here, let's say now I wanted to export it. I'm finished with everything. Let's get rid of all this. Now, you'll do the same thing with the Fibonacci in the same process that I'm going to show you now. Is grab the lid. Let's flip it around. How it's going to be printed. Right. Grab the face corner and make sure it's on that Z-axis at 0. Pull it out of the way. Now what we want to do is we want to temporary, just grab the lid and delete it. And then select the box and come along here and press download STL and download that into the STL and then press Control Z, go back, delete this one now, and then let's send this for STL. Download STL. And then what I'll do is Control Z, bring all my models back. All right. And now I can save this. Yes, purge all. And you're done. From here, now what we'll do is to take your box ready for printing is you open this software called, and I'm going to open it up now for us, STL Repairer. It's a free online STL repairer. So if I was to choose the box that I just made, the lid, this will search to see if it's got any errors. Now, generally, if there's a queue, you'll be waiting. I found no naked errors, so the lid was perfect. If I wanted to check the box, now let's see if it has any issues with the box. And it found no issues with the box either. So now you can submit this ready for submission to Boom and Bust. Sam would appreciate it because there's no issues in meshes. All right, so at this point now, once you've confirmed that the box is okay, what you can do from here is download the fixed file. Should it be damaged and it's fixed it for you, you can just press this button here and then it'll just download it into here. You'll find that it'll say fix at the end of it, so you can identify the two files. So click onto the file and we'll open up Cura. And there's the box. So you can see that it's been imported without any issues. It hasn't come in any error issues. Now I'm printing it on, so I designed this for the 250. I'll just confirm the measurements on this one. There's a smaller one I have. So that's the smallest one I have and it still fits no problem. And I could have gone a lot higher too. But for the submission, you got to stay within those parameters. So now from here, look, if you look at carefully, it's saying 18 hours to print this piece. And I have to think of a way how I can reduce that. Now it's quite thick. If I was to press the preview button here. So I'll just cancel that. I could then use this sidebar to come down and look at the thickness of the walls. They're they're actually solid. So what I can do is to reduce this, because that's 4 mil, and it's going to use 287 grams of PLA. What I can do is I can come into the settings and I can change this to firstly 0.3, right? Layer height, layer height 0.3. And scroll down. We'll just look at those and we're going to go into the wall thicknesses. So we here have wall. We want to pull that down this bit here. Let's see, we've got 5 here. Wall line count. And so what we'll do is we'll do 3. Let's see how much that improves it. Not much. It's actually gone more. 4. Oh no, was it 19 hours before? Yeah, it was. So it's actually helped it. Okay. So that's brought it down to 13 hours. We'll just bring this down now. That looks like that. Now, one of the issues with the testing is that you see these hollow enclosures. I think they create themselves a sound that the microphone picks up as a resonant frequency. So I think keep that in mind when you're printing or you're testing your own. The more thicker it is, the more solid it's going to become. Yeah, you're going to wait longer, but it is what it is. That's the time. Anything more you try to do better than this is only going to become more weaker. So you could see from where I was to, if I was to go back to what do you call it, the wall thicknesses back to 6 again or 5. So it's actually went to 12 hours, went less. So it's actually better this way. There you go. All right. So I think that's probably the best outcome we're going to do is make it a solid. Don't have any infills at all right through. This will become a nice solid box. Okay. This is ready for printing. From here, you can save to disk and start printing. Now, if you had room on your printer, you wanted to put both in there, what you could do is you could just move this more on the side. And then I can come along here on the top where it says prepare and click onto this icon here and bring in the next part of that model. I think it's this one here, the lid. No, I'll delete that. I'll just bring in the right one. Put the name in it. There's the lid. All right, and the lid fitted. So what I'll do is I'll just bring this further in that way because this is not fitting. That's it. And I've got both models on here, both parts. So that adds another few more hours, 15 hours in total. Save to disk. onto your file, put onto your printer, and this is ready to rock and roll. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope these tutorials helped. I plan to do a few more. If I see that I get a good response with this one, I will spend time on doing a few more on how to use SketchUp, making other models. Maybe we do a port next, or some waveguides for front end of a car. Please subscribe, please follow and like. Thank you very much.